Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, and yes, it is another review video. This time, I rewatched Final Fantasy VII Advent Children last week. As you can see from my uploads over the past few months, it's been really heavy Final Fantasy, playing Final Fantasy VIII, and before that, Final Fantasy VII. And you know what, I was like, let's just keep this thing up. Final Fantasy gives me views, is a very popular franchise, so like, why not just keep this train going? So instead of playing a Final Fantasy, I was like, why not watch one? So that's why I decided to rewatch 2005's Final Fantasy VII Advent Children. Like when I was younger, I was so excited for this movie to come out because at the end of the original game, Final Fantasy VII, it was sort of the game had an open-ended conclusion outside of Red 13's post-credit scene, really. From like 500 years later, you really don't know what happened to the rest of the crew after Meteor was stopped. And I wanted to know, like, what happened? What happened to the crew after, everything happened? So when this movie was announced in 2003, I was pretty hyped about it. Like for 2 years, I was looking for rumors, news updates, watching the same trailers over and over again. Especially the one at the beginning of the trailer where they played the main theme on the piano. I watched that 3,000 times, and I probably watched it even after the movie came out. I thought it was pretty cool. And also, anyone else old enough to remember Zanga, which was like a blog website where you can create your own blog. And my first and only post on that was about Final Fantasy VII Advent Children and how excited I was for it. So much so, as the wallpaper or background of my Zanga was the poster for Advent Children. So it's safe to say I was excited for Advent Children, okay? So this was an interesting time for Final Fantasy VII because at the same time they announced the movie, they announced something called the compilation of Final Fantasy VII. It was like a collection of new content for Final Fantasy VII on different mediums. Now this is still going on now, but this was the original start of this whole thing, right? You had the spin-off game, Dirge of Cerberus, which followed Vincent Valentine. That game was for the PS2. You also had Before Crisis, a mobile game, a mobile game back in the mid-2000s, which is kind of crazy. I think that was only in Japan, I think. You had Last Order, that was an OVA. And of course now you have Final Fantasy VII Advent Children for a movie. Alright, so Advent Children premiered on September 15th, 2005 in Japan. The film takes place 2 years after the events of Final Fantasy VII, and things are not going great, not going well at all. Now, Cloud and crew defeated Sephiroth and stopped Meteor, but this time, new threats have emerged, and one of those threats are in the form of an incurable disease called Geostigma. It's infecting the displaced residents of Midgar, who are now in this newfound city called Edge, or the Edge, or something like that. So it is pretty bleak. And also a robed Rufus Shinra, who is very much still alive after taking a very direct hit from Diamond Weapon. I don't know how he's still alive. He is recruiting Cloud to stop these 3 silver-haired dudes who are somehow a manifestation of Sephiroth in some way, who might be in the live stream. And Cloud's like, nah, we killed him. And Rufus is like, yeah, but what if you didn't? So you got these three enemies. You got Geostigma, and also Cloud left Midgar to go out on his own. And it's really a movie about Cloud trying to move on from a lot of the tragedies he's faced before the game and during the game, and all this stuff that he's dealing with. So like when I first watched the movie when I was 16, I thought it was cool. I thought it was cool. I thought it would be a little bit better, but I said, it's fine. It's fine, right? I said it's good, it's cool. I felt a little disappointed, but I was like, it's fine, it's cool. It was a cool movie. But now that I rewatched it, a little worse than I remember. A little worse than I remember. Also, I want to add, for this rewatch, I watched the complete version, which came out in 2009, which is basically an extra 26 minutes of movie, basically, of new scenes, extended scenes or whatever, that wasn't in the original version that came out in 2005. And it definitely helps. I think they needed a little bit more time. I think the extended scenes definitely helped out a little bit. I think the base movie kind of needed a little bit more, so I do appreciate this complete version. All right, I'll start with the positive. All right, I'll start with the positive. The opening intro of this movie, I think, is really good. The intro with I guess the voice actress who plays Marlene narrating the first 2 to 3 minutes, and it's like a 2 to 3 minute summary of Final Fantasy VII. It's like, hey, can I get a few minute summary of Final Fantasy VII? Take them to that scene or take them to that intro. It kind of it just summarizes everything very, very well and doesn't get too far in the weeds. It can get somebody who is new to FF7 kind of like, not up to speed, but kind of get an understanding of like what the story is, a very basic understanding of what the story is. And also the song, I think it's called Promised Land, is really good. It's a really good song. It's a really good intro. Definitely love watching that over and over again. The action, okay, the action's fun. It's a really fun action movie if you really like action. Like, after seeing these characters in a turn-based RPG for years, and like you love the game, you love the characters, being able to see these characters like actually fight like for real, like in a sort of not a live action, but not in a turn-based way. It was very cool. It was kind of nice to see that, and it's like, oh, all these characters that you love actually fighting now, and it was actually kind of fun. Like the Tifa versus Laz fight was good. Any fight scene with Cloud, I think they did a good job with the fighting scenes with Cloud. Probably my favorite part of this movie, one of my favorite parts, is when Kadaj, who's the leader of that trio of guys, has Jenova's head, and he's like falling down to the ground. I think it's outside the Shinra building, the destroyed Shinra building, and he's gonna take in Jenova's head or whatever, and then Cloud's going to attack him, and then boom, he kind of hits him, but like Kadaj was able to transform to Sephiroth at the last minute. That part is still fucking dope. I ain't gonna front. That shit was so cool, son. That part is still dope. And Sephiroth was like, "Good to see you, Cloud."
Good to see you, Cloud.
I like the movie less, but like that part is still fucking dope. I was like, oh, that's so fucking cool, man. And the Cloud versus Sephiroth fight is probably my favorite fight of the movie. But that part when Sephiroth transform is so goddamn good. And also the music is good. The music is good. I like the One Wing Angel remix with the guitar. that was dope. They had a couple of variations of the battle theme. Overall, Cloud smiles at the end. I think the music, I thought the music was good. For solid composing, I'll say. All right, I'm gonna get to the bad. This movie is so fucking gray. I'm not an expert of CGI or animation or anything like that, but I'm not a fan of the art direction. It is so gray, dull. It looks lifeless. I understand the movie is kind of bleak, right? I'll give them that. Like, it does kind of match the bleakness of what's going on with the with people dealing with geostigma. Cloud dealing with what he's dealing with, and trying to move on with his life, and Sephiroth trying to come back. I understand it's still kind of bleak, but it's still so fucking gray. Like, for some reason, I just like, nah, I hate this. Like, it makes sense in a way, but it doesn't feel that, like, it doesn't feel like the color choice was made to reflect that. I felt like they just made it that way. You know what I'm saying? I think they could have done better with having a little bit more color instead of everything looking so bland. It's just really, at times, just boring to look at. I don't know if it's like a technology thing, like if it's an outdated animation choice or something, but I don't know. It just wasn't doing it for me. The characters, I don't have a problem with voice actors, right? I'm a voice actor myself. I'm not gonna blame any voice actor for anything here. I don't know, like maybe when I watch this time, I think the bad part about rewatching it now is that the remake series has been out for 6 years. You know what I'm saying? So it's hard not to compare, this Advent Children with the voice acting in the remake series, which I think is obviously, and many people think is obviously superior to the movie. So that's the downside about rewatching it now. But it did seem like they missed the mark with the characters in terms of like direction and, the voice direction in it. Like, of course, all the voice actors are really good, but for some reason, I just feel like the characters aren't right. Tifa and Rufus are the two characters that kind of stood out to me. I thought like Rufus sounded a little too robotic. You know what I'm saying? He sounded a little too robotic, a little too stiff. I always thought that Rufus had a little bit more oomph to him. Like even though he's this like super rich dude and like this evil corporate monster or whatever, I thought there would be a little bit more charisma to him. And he just seemed very just like stiff. And then Tifa just didn't. Some with Tifa just felt off also. I don't know what it is. I think the best character they got right in this was probably Reno. Reno's the only guy I'm like, yeah, that sounds like how Reno would be. How they portrayed Reno in this, I think that was the most accurate. I think he's probably one of my favorite characters in the movie. Kind of going back to action a little bit. I liked with the crew, like when they were fighting Bahamut Sin, when Cloud was going up in the air to do like the final attack. I think he was using Clem Hazard, I think. When they all got together to shoot Cloud up into the sky, I thought that was fucking dope. I thought that was the best like group bonding character development thing in the movie, because it was like the whole team got together again to send up Cloud, the leader, to defeat this monstrous summon that's attacking the city, right? And like I think I needed also more of that from the original party. I couldn't get a feel of each of the characters. It was just like characters just shooting off one-liners and here and there, one-liner here, one-liner there. Yuffie saying something real quick. Red 13 sample a quick line. Kate says something for a second. It's like I can't get a feel of these characters. In a way, they were kind of like rushing through them. It was a little annoying because it's like a lot, like I think all of them had like character arcs during the game. And it's like I kind of wish there was like a slower scene when they were all together, just like maybe trying to talk to Cloud about like, hey, you gotta like move on. You gotta get your shit together or something like that. It's like the shit's over. You gotta move on with your life, I wish they did something like that. And they didn't. Like, I guess one cool part was when Cloud was fighting Kadaj, they were gonna help him. They're sitting in the airship, and then they kind of all came together and decided that, I don't think Cloud needs any help. And then they flew away, and you kind of see a smirk on Cloud's face, which I thought was like a really cool thing. But I do wish that they kind of got together and had a scene together, just like a slow scene and just talking. And also, like, why didn't Barrett get anything, yo? Like, where was Barrett? I understand, like, this is more of a Cloud Tifa thing, but I'm like, Barrett should have been here. Barrett should have had a lot more screen time, and I was really disappointed about that. And also, guys, I ain't like Denzel. Denzel fucking wasting my time, bro. Get Denzel off my screen. That little ass kid. Get Denzel away from here, son. Oh, you could have taken this dude out and had more things with everybody else. But nah, we gotta keep Denzel. Hated Denzel. I think the really good thing about Advent Children, though, is that when it came to the remake series, you can kind of go back to Advent Children and see like, okay, what did we do here that we can improve upon when it comes to the characters. In a way, I appreciate Advent Children kind of fucked up a little bit. So, because it made a great cast when it came to the remake series, So that was really cool. But overall, though, like Advent Children, I appreciate it for what it was. I think it was just sort of a fan servicey sort of movie, which a lot of people think it is. You might be bored. Let me turn on some Advent Children, bro. It has enough action to keep you kind of entertained. You know, the story isn't quite, you know, there, but if you want to chill, like, hey, want to watch an action movie, want to go down memory lane, definitely watch Advent Children. But it did not, for me, age the best. But, you know, I always appreciate Advent Children, and for me, it just brings me back to a time of me being a big fan of something and excited about something and like looking for news and rumors and trying to like waiting for the next image to come up, you know, of like what's gonna happen in the movie. You have to wait like another year for the movie to come out and stuff. That's my quick talk about Final Fantasy VII Advent Children. Yeah, remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel, follow me on the socials, and yeah, this has been Final Fantasy VII Advent Children.